There are over 100 filters that ship with Photoshop, and they're all located under the filter menu. There are a number of filters that are associated with Filter Gallery, and others that are simply listed under the menu. Some of them are even broken down into smaller categories, but honestly, I just try to think of the filters as either being the more artistic filters that you apply or the more practical filters that you apply, maybe the more utilitarian filters. Let's briefly discuss the artistic filters. A lot of the artistic filters are found under the Filter Gallery, and when you select them, you can add as many as you want. You can stack them on top of each other, and each one has its own set of options directly related to that filter. So instead of running through each one, I thought we would just take a look at some of the more dramatic filters. Here we can see that you can add a texture on top of your image, or you can add noise, or you can use one of the more creative filters like the fibers to actually add texture by fading the filter back a little. Here I've got an example of it faded to 50%. You can also be creative with filters like the spatter filter, or we can create effects that were traditionally hand-drawn, like the ink outlines. You can convert your image into what looks like stained glass, or have it appear that it is wrapped in plastic. And then again, we have many more of these hand-drawn effects like colored pencil and the bas relief, the charcoal and graphic pen, even the stamp filter. There are also filters that will pull your image into distortions like the polar coordinates. We can add waves and ripples, and we can add different kinds of glow like the neon glow here, or create more kind of psychedelic effects with the difference clouds. Let's take a look at some of the more practical filters. And by this, I mean adding filters that are going to enhance the image by doing things like add selective blurs. So we can see the first three blurs are all in the blur gallery. So we have the field and the iris and the tilt shift blur. We also have the more traditional Gaussian blur and the motion and radial blur. You can even blur your image with a shape that you select. The surface blur is great for evening out skin tones. And then you'll see that we can either add noise or remove noise. We can also add film grain. We'll take a look at the diffuse glow. That's a really nice filter to add, as well as an advanced method for sharpening using the high pass filter. And you can even add some dramatic filters like the lens flare or lighting effects. So what we're going to be doing in the next few lessons is converting our layers into smart objects so that when we apply a filter, it gets applied as a smart filter. Again, back to that non-destructive image editing model that Photoshop is so good at. This also enables us to change opacity and blend modes, as well as work with masks in order to paint in and out the filters in select areas of our image.